So if you think that your life sucks, you gotta look inside. What do I need to fix? What do I need to work on? What I need to heal? Because remember, you attract what you are. As within, so without. So what happened in the outcome is a reflection of the in world, of your inner world. Your life sucks because you live in a victim mindset. I know I'm going so hard on this video. I know that this is a hard pill to swallow, but don't get me wrong, like I've been there. Back when I was living a victim mindset, I always think that life is happening to me. Life is a curse. Everything is just sucks. People sucks. I always felt like life is not gonna get any better. Just the way I view the world back when I was living victim mindset was very negative. So what are the patterns of people that live in a victim mindset? People that live in a victim mindset tend to have a very negative thought patterns. They think that nothing ever goes right or it's not my fault. And in terms of behavior, they give up easily and they feel like things are beyond my control. People that have a victim mindset, they tend to have a very low self-esteem. So all this stuff that I've been talk about in our first intro is something that I've been going through. A little bit of my story. In my childhood phase, I grew up in a very traditional family. For those who doesn't know, I born and raised in Bali. And I always felt different than most of my family. Especially in my generations. I just felt like I just never fit in. I always hyper aware with certain things around me. And I guess because I was so used to being in survival instincts because of what happened in the house when I was a kid. My parents divorced when I was in second grade. I remember I was 7 years old at that time. My mom is always feminine, nurturing. She taught me a lot about how to be a woman, how to be a traditional woman. My grandparents, they taught me a lot about household, how to be disciplined, how to have structure. At the time, I really not like what they were doing to me, but now the older I got, I understand how important those stuff that they taught me about when I was a kid. My dad, on the other side, he was abusive, mentally and physically. He was never abusive my mom, but he was abusive me. And I had a lot of trauma when I was a kid. Also, I got bullied when I was in elementary school. And so all that suppressions of negative emotions coming to the surface when I start get into my teenager phase. So those are between 13 and 18. That's when I go through so much hardship in life. From changing schools, going to homeschools, having depression, having identity crisis, and suicidal thoughts, self-harm. A lot of suppression, negative emotions that I felt when I was really young came out to the surface in those period of time. And that's when I start to view the world as a curse, view the life as a curse. I was thinking like I always think that that's how the outcome that I'm going to have for the rest of my life. And for those period of time, like it was very intense and very dark. Like I remember all I do is crying, all I do is questioning myself, all I do is having questioning my self-worth, self-love. Like I have no love for myself. I was turned out to be a people pleaser. I turned out to attract people that I shouldn't attract. I start do certain things that I know I shouldn't start, and if I go back that I wish I shouldn't do it, but still regret nothing that happened in our life, like in my life. Like those are happening for a reason, you know? And I have to go through all that for 6 years. I was nothing but questioning myself until the age of 18 is when the turning point is when I started shifting from everything that I was going through. I remember I was turning 18. It was on my birthday. I was in a helicopter trip with my friends, three of my close friends. And when we were on the air, because I remember we were doing it in Bali, and like we were on the air of I think it was close to the ocean. We were like on the air, like in a helicopter, whatever. I start to have some sort of like download, I would say. And I was just basically think of like, well, everything that happened in the past, there's nothing I can do about it. It's not my fault. Like, who wanna live without having two parents? Who wanna who would have thought that your parents is going to divorce and is going to change your whole life? Who would have thought that all the things that happened in my life from kids when I was like 5 years old is going to be the most painful shit that I have to go through? Who would have fucking thought? Nobody. Who would have wanted to have that life? Nobody. But there's nothing I can do to change it. What's in the past is in the past for a reason. There's nothing I can do to change it. But what happened in the future is my responsibility. I know I could not rewrite my old story, but I can rewrite my new story. That's what I do. I take a full accountability for myself. I learned the hard way. I don't learn the easy way. Nobody taught me anything. I learned it in my own way. So after having that download on my on my 18th birthday, that's when I started like, okay, I know it's time for a reset. But at the same time, I didn't know how to do it. I just know that there's something that needs to change. And along the way, I start to slowly watching a podcast on YouTube. I remember two of my favorite podcasts at that time was Tony Robbins and Jay Shetty. And then I started to read a book by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now. That's when I start my spiritual journey and my meditation journey. At first I had a friend that told me about it. His name is Samuel. He's from Spain. He talked to me about meditation because I came up to him talking about advice, and he was like, you have a lot of things on your mind. I think like meditation could calm your mind. Then I tried, but I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, it doesn't feel anything. Then when I finally start that meditation journey by myself, I realized how impactful meditation it is for me. And I started fully committed to myself just by doing a journal, read more books, and be more disciplined. Because when I was in depression mode, I was so procrastinated and not doing anything and not being structured. And I was trying myself to be more structured after I make promise to myself that I need to take accountability for myself and I have to learn the hard way. Everything goes smooth for the first 3 months of my spiritual journey until I'm going through spiritual awakening, or other people call it testimony. Oh boy, that was the most intense moment and phase of my life. Like knowing the fact that I've been going through so much, and those are still also most painful. But the difference between before and after I leave my victim mindset, because at that time I was already in a journey of spiritual journey and self work. So I have a full resilience of going through what I was going through. The first thing I was going through is a near death experience. I almost died. I have an internal bleeding. And I really thought I was gonna die. Even talked to my friends. One of my friends, I said like, if I die, like please do a cremation and spread my ashes to my grandma's house, my house, and my hometown house. Because I really thought I was gonna die. Even the nurse told me that like if I came late to the hospital, I think like I'm gonna die. But I guess God knows that I still have a lot to do in life. I still have so many purpose and goals that I have to complete. But anyway, after going through a near death experience, I had to deal with chronic illness for about 7 months. And it's crazy when people ask me, what chronic illness are you talking about? I don't know. I wish I know. That's the answer. Because don't get me wrong, I do everything in my power to find out on what was happening with me. Go to the hospital, doing a lot of kind of tests, blood tests, CT scan, urology, anything. And none of these doctors telling me what was going on. They said like everything is fine, your blood is fine, the sugar level is fine, whatever that is. It sucks because like you know that something is not right within your body, but you also get the answer of like, well, there's nothing happening to you. It's like you were being forced to live in uncertainty, to be in uncertainty. And at the same time, I was also dealing with toxic breakup. I'm not saying that my ex is a bad person. I'm not saying that. We're just not good for each other. But it was definitely the most heartbreaking relationship that ever happened to me. Which at the same time, like I'm thankful and grateful for those experiences that I'm going through with my ex. If I did not go through that, I would not be the person that I am right now. That relationship was forced me to stop being a people pleaser. And since then I guess I've become more of a man eater, I would say. But anyway, I got sick and I break up at the same time. So after I get through of a near death experience, and then I got sick, and I get into a relationship and break up. So those period, like they're like kind of like together at the same time. And I swear to God, I felt like I was a snake that trying to shedding its own skin, like trying to kill the old version of me. Like I feel me of having this near death experience was telling me that how valuable life is, to like feeling like life is so valuable. And I think it teach me a lot of like those moments when I was trying to like kill myself, and realize that like life is so valuable. Why would I have to trying to kill myself? And having a chronic illness is more of a feeling that I felt like that was just a lot of a like, because you know when you are sick, it's basically your body was trying to get rid of a lot of negative things and anything that toxic in your body out of your system. And that's what happened when you are sick. And the breakup was a turning point as well. Like before him or during him, I was a people pleaser. I think that time was the final task of my people pleaser tendency. I think if I did not go through that experience, to that really bad abrupt relationship and break up, I would not be a version I am right now. I think I would still trying to begging other people, trying to be a people pleaser, try to go out of my way and lose my self esteem and my self identity just for being love and relationship. You know, like those happen with somebody that have other issues or daddy issues, which what happened with me. So that was my final task of my people pleaser tendency and fear of rejection and fear of abandonment. And so after going through all that, I went to a Balinese ceremony. So this is when everything starts like shifting from like spiritual awakening to thriving stage. I went to a Balinese ceremony, my Balinese ceremony. The day after that, I break up with my ex. And a few days after that, I start feeling a lot better. So throughout those season where I have a near death experience, get sick and break up with my ex, I lost so many weight. And after breakup, I lost even more weight and I couldn't eat. I wake up every midnight at 3 a.m. and my heart was aching so bad over that breakup. Literally, I couldn't get out of my room because it was really that bad. Could not eat by myself, could not eat alone. Literally have to have my mom accompany me while I'm eat. That's how bad that relationship was got me, that put me through. I'm not saying that my ex is a bad person. I guess just like we're not good for each other and that's what happened, you know? But I'm glad, like I'm thankful for my ex. Like what Ariana Grande said. Like I'm so thankful for my ex. Like literally, like I would not be this badass bitch with a really standard and boundaries, and I would not put myself into that same position ever again. And I'll take all in. I'll take the pain. I'll take the sadness. I'll take all this experience with still resilience, believe that this is happening for me. This is meant for me to happen. I know that after this, God will reward me. And it's hard, like when you're going through a lot of things at the same time, but you also are being forced to have faith in God. And that's what I was tasted for. And I believe there's always be a blessing in disguise. And after I take all in, get that balance ceremony, get into that balance ceremony, I start to have blessing from God. I start to having my breakthrough moment. I got a scholarship to the US, and at the same time I also got an offer job in UNICEF, or well, it's not United Nations, but it's UNICEF. Anyway, I got accepted to go to work in UNICEF. So there's a lot of blessings coming to, like, at the same time I met so many um incredible people that teach me a lot about life. It's crazy because the moment you change your mindset from a victim to a victor mindset, it changes your outcome, it changes your reality. And that's what I experienced. I felt like if I was still stuck in a victim mindset, I would not be where I am right now. I would not be able to have those opportunities because God knows that I am not where I am to receive what I wanted in life. The moral of the story is you are the one who is responsible of your own life. Nobody are responsible of your own life. So if your life sucks, it's because something that you had to change within yourself. And I'm not going to tell you like it's okay. I'm not going to tell you that like, oh, I know everything is gonna be okay. I'm not going to sweet talk you. Because if I'm going to be honest, you gotta learn the hard way. You gotta take accountability. You gotta have self-awareness. If you keep living in a victim mindset, your life is going to be sucks. I'm just being honest. So everything can be a tool for growth. Even if you think that can hurt you, it all depends on how you choose to perceive it. Either as a blessing in disguise or a trap in disguise. So, everything that you might going through in the past, everything, like the darkness, the diabolical, or whatever like, really bad experience that you're going through in your life in the past, you can change that. There's nothing you can change that. It's in the past. But what is gonna happen in the future, your future is your responsibility. You can rewrite your future. But it takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes an intense self-work. Everything that I do during my healing journey, the intense self-work, I take a full commitment. From reading books, the podcast, meditate, journal prompt. Journal prompt is very intense because the journal prompt is basically like asking you certain questions that will definitely trigger you and force you to go back to the old stories that where that trauma is coming from. So if you want to change your outcome, you have to change your inner world first. So if you think that your life sucks, you gotta look inside. What do I need to fix? What do I need to work on? What I need to heal? Because remember, you attract what you are. As within, so without. So what happened in the outcome is a reflection of the in world, of your inner world. So ask yourself this question. Do you want to rewrite your stories? Do you want to get out of that victim mindset? Are you tired of having the same shit going on in your life? If the answer is yes, you gotta take accountability. You gotta be aware. You gotta be so self-aware. You gotta really be fully committed. But if you think like, I don't know, Ada, I don't know how am I gonna do it. Like you keep making so many excuses, then you're not going to be able to change your life. I'm saying this based on experience. I'm not talking in front of the camera of something that I don't experience. But at the same time, even though you have the self-awareness, you do the inner work, don't forget to always have faith in God. Because without it as well, it's not going to be balanced out. So for that being said, thank you for everybody that are taking their time to watch this. I know that this is a very personal for me, and I know that it might really wake up some people, because this is a hard pill to swallow for you guys who still live in a victim mindset. But I'm here to letting you know that if I can change, if I can shift my mindset from a victim to a victor, from having depression, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, to really love myself. I love myself. To have good self-identity, to value myself, then you can't. The question is, are you willing to do the work or you don't? The choice and the decision is in your hand.